Now, as an illusionist, it was my job for 20 years to come up with impossible concepts and work my way backwards and bring them out to the world for one purpose and one purpose only: to have the audience go, "How did you do the trick?" And, you know, after 20 years, that became quite unfulfilling. I remember one time I was on a cruise ship in Mexico, and we had just fireworks going off, and 2 Harley Davidsons on stage appeared out of nowhere with 5 dancers on top, and somebody came up to me afterwards and said, "I think I know how you did that." And I'm like, whatever. I didn't care anymore. It wasn't fulfilling just to have people go, "How did you do the trick?" But for 14 years, I had studied personal growth and never done much with it, though. But then it hit me one day, what if I could leave the audience with a lasting impression so that they could take something tangible home and apply it? That's when the idea was born for what I'm doing today. Merging personal growth with magic in a concept called Real Magic Live, which is the world's first seminar and show in one. Now, let's go into a little test to make sure if you're really ready for this. I'm going to ask you to extend your arms all the way out to your hands. See what I did there? Okay, you're awake. Thank you. Good. Good, good. So far, so good. I'm going to ask you to turn your thumbs down like this. Cross your right hand over the left hand like this and interlock. But thumbs down. Yeah, thumbs down, sweetie. So you have the right hand over the left hand with the thumbs down. Do we all agree? Yes. If you successfully allowed me to deceive your senses, which I hope is the case, then you would not be able to do this. Good, that's a good sign. So far, so good. Give yourself a big round of applause. Let's get started on the first concept. Let's uncover the magic word together. And this is important. This is an interactive illusion. It will not work unless you give it your full, undivided attention. All right? This goes for the live streamers too, at home. Turn off all distractions, push the mute button on your kids if they have one. Go to a place where you can do this uninterrupted. As we know, there's 2 factors to consider in results. There are main causes and the effects of those main causes. All throughout this program this weekend, we've been working with main causes, which is an amazing thing. On this board, there are 8 words divided into 2 categories. Main causes, which are in the blue fields, and the effects of those causes in the yellow. Now, if you cannot read those words on the screen, I need for you to take notes. If you cannot read those words on the screen, I need you to find a piece of paper and write this out in front of you. All right? And live streamers, I want you to get as close to the screen as possible. I want you to get so close to the screen that you can actually touch the screen. And no, it doesn't make sense. It's silly, but you have a license to be silly. Go all in. The yellow fields are the effects. The blue fields are the main causes. I want you to write this out, this diagram, if you can't read the words. Just follow along here. We have income, paradigms, relationships, feelings, thoughts, health, attitude, and freedom. All right? So, how many are writing these down? How many feel the need to write them down? Okay, good. Keep going. Do you want me to repeat them? Are we good? Income, paradigms, relationships, feelings, thoughts, health, attitude, freedom. I need for you to choose an effect that you desire in your life. One of the yellow fields, whether that be income, health, relationships, or freedom. Choose one and only one for yourself in your mind. This is an illusion that only takes place in one place. That is your mind. In fact, illusions cannot exist anywhere else but in the mind. So you got one? That was a question. We're having a dialogue this morning. Do we have an effect chosen? Whoa. All right. Thank you. In one of the yellow fields, we've got one. Perfect. Hone in on it. Focus on it. In a moment, I'm going to ask you to move 5 times from that yellow field. But first, let me explain how this works. Let's say you chose health. You could go like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Or you could go the other way. From health, that would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and so on. All right? You follow the lines, up, down, right, left. You cannot move diagonally. All right? So start out from the yellow field that you chose, the effect that you chose, and we're going to move 5 times. Are you ready? Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. You are on a new field. I don't know which one it is, but you need to keep track of it. Keep all of your conscious attention on the new field you just landed on now, because that will be your next starting point. So don't let go of it. Don't lose track of it, all right? Stay on that new field. While you're there and I'm here and you're watching on the live stream, maybe thousands of miles away, I know we all make different choices throughout our lives, but I also know one thing. Our minds work the same way. And our minds always lead us to the truth if we're good enough at listening. And that's what you're doing here. In this moment, I know you're not on income, so I'll remove that. And I have a feeling that you didn't choose freedom either. I'll take that one away. That leaves us with a bit fewer options. But I want you to move 3 more times to make it even more random. 3 more times from the last field you landed on. All right? You're with me? 3 more times from the last field you landed on. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. Stop right there. Don't move anywhere else. That will be your next starting point, so don't lose track of it. Stay right there. Individual choices all over the place. We're all making random choices. But I have a feeling that you're not here, so I'll take that one away. And I know it's a paradigm shift seminar, but for some reason you're not there either. That leaves 3 options. I'm going to ask you to move 3 more times from the last field you landed on. Are you ready? Here we go. 1, 2, and 3. Stop right there. Don't move. If you've done this right, your mind has guided you to the truth. Because the magic word is attitude. Attitude. Thank you. So what is attitude? How do we define it? Because doctors tell patients, we've done what we can, now it's up to your attitude. Counselors tell couples, we've done what we can, now the rest is up to your attitude. We tell kids in school, attitude is all you need. But what is it? Do we know how to define it? In most cases, the answer is no. 14 years ago, I read the first book on personal growth. Dr. Joseph Murphy, The Power of Your Subconscious Mind. Best book in the world, in my opinion. It's so good. And I learned there was 2 parts to the mind. At the time when I read this, I was performing Magic for Tips. I had just left my home country of Denmark. Literally left everything behind in the pursuit of more. And I was living in Miami. I was performing Magic for Tips in local restaurants and bars. And $20 a night was a good night for me. I went from that to performing and producing multi-million-dollar production shows on 5-star cruise ships all around the world in 1 year. Well, thank you, but I'm not saying that to impress anyone. I'm just using that as an illustration because I just did what Dr. Murphy talks about. I started using affirmations that were foreign to me in the beginning, but I went from that to that in such a short amount of time, and I knew it wasn't accident. I knew it had something to do with what I read and what I applied, but I couldn't share it. I couldn't articulate it. It wasn't until I was at my first paradigm shift seminar that I learned more about the stick person that Mr. Bob is sharing as the genie because it really is. And the stick person illustrates so beautifully the two parts of the mind expressed in the physical body. And that's when it clicked. That's attitude. As we know, it's the composite of thoughts, feelings, and actions in a person. It's not just the feelings, it's not just the actions, it's the composite of all three that makes it for a fantastic attitude. So bad attitude, bad results. All our results today are just an expression of our past attitudes. So there's one question we should ask ourselves. Is it the results in our life that's giving our thinking, or is it our newfound thinking that is giving us our results? Because those are the two different ways of living. One is prison, in my opinion, and one is freedom. But as we start working this concept, you work a main cause in your life. An attitude will give us anything we can possibly dream of. Thoughts on a conscious level becomes the emotions on a subconscious level, as we know, becomes the physical expression within through the body, and that produces results in the world of effects as the fourth step. So as we work with this, we work with the main cause of results. We had a participant in Denmark. She, in the middle of her life, decided to stop her job. She didn't know what she wanted, but she wanted to discover her purpose. Her family thought she was nuts. But she did. 3 months later, it came to her. She wanted to do something so different than she had ever done before. In a new field, but had no experience, no job offer, nothing. Can you imagine how her paradigms were fighting her? But she built a winning attitude. She learned this concept, she worked with it, she built the attitude required of a winner in her field. She attracted the right opportunity, she got hired by the biggest production company in the country, she was paid more than people who's been there for 10 years. Why? Because the person that hired her understand that attitudes cannot be bought, but skills can be taught to the person with the right attitude. And that is truly the magic word.